The empire behind the swoosh, before the roaring crowds, before the billion-dollar endorsements, before the championships, the iconic commercials, and one of the most recognizable logos on Earth. There was a young man with a dream that sounded almost impossible. No factories, no fortune, no guarantee that anyone would believe in his vision. Today, the Nike swoosh is more than a logo. It's a symbol worn by Olympic champions, world-class athletes, musicians, entrepreneurs, and millions of people chasing their own version of success. It appears on streets from New York to Tokyo, on football pitches, basketball courts, marathon finish lines, and in places where the founders of Nike could never have imagined. The company generates tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. Its name has become part of global culture. But every empire has a beginning, and every empire has a price. Because behind the victories, there were sleepless nights. Behind the celebrations, there were moments of fear. Behind every bold decision, there was the possibility of failure. This is not just the story of a shoe company. It's the story of two men who refused to accept the world as it was. One believed better shoes could help athletes run faster. The other believed a small idea could challenge giants. Together, they set out to build something that seemed impossible. They had no certainty, only conviction. But history has a strange habit. It often whispers before it shouts. The moments that change the world rarely announce themselves. They begin quietly. A conversation, a sketch, a risky decision. A car parked beside a running track, its trunk filled with boxes of shoes, while one determined young salesman hoped someone, anyone, would stop and listen. Few noticed, even fewer believed. Yet those ordinary moments would become the foundation of one of the most influential brands in history. This is the story of courage before confidence, risk before reward, failure before fame. This is the rise, the struggle, the controversy, and the legacy of Nike. Welcome to Behind the Empire, because behind every empire, there is a story the world almost forget. The idea that changed everything. After graduating from college, Phil Knight found himself searching for direction. Like so many young graduates, he had ambition, but no clear path. He enrolled at Stanford Business School, hoping the answers would reveal themselves. Then, one classroom assignment changed everything. Students were asked to imagine a business that could succeed against established competitors. Most searched for ordinary ideas. Knight couldn't stop thinking about running. At the time, German companies dominated the athletic shoe market. Their products were respected across the world, but quality came at a high price. Knight saw something others overlooked. Japan had rebuilt much of its manufacturing industry after World War II. Its factories were producing products that were becoming better every year. A simple question entered his mind. What if high-quality running shoes could be made in Japan and sold for far less than the German brands? It sounded bold, maybe even unrealistic. He had no factory, no employees, no investors, no famous name, only an idea that refused to leave his mind. Many of history's greatest companies began exactly that way. Not with money, but with a different way of seeing the world. Most people wait for certainty before taking action. Entrepreneurs move while uncertainty still exists. Knight chose the second path. He knew there was only one way to find out if his vision could become reality. He would have to leave everything familiar behind. He would travel halfway across the world, not as a successful businessman, but as a young man carrying nothing except belief. Sometimes the distance between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is a single decision that almost everyone else is too afraid to make. Phil Knight had just made his. The journey into the unknown. Armed with nothing more than an idea and unwavering belief, Phil Knight boarded a plane to Japan. He wasn't traveling as the founder of a successful company. He wasn't backed by wealthy investors. He wasn't carrying a famous brand. He was simply a young man chasing a possibility that existed only in his imagination. The journey itself was a gamble, thousands of miles from home. In a country whose language and business culture were unfamiliar, Knight had one mission: convince a Japanese shoe manufacturer to trust a complete stranger. Most people would have called it impossible. But history has a habit of rewarding those willing to attempt what others dismiss. When Knight arrived, he met with executives from Onitsuka, the company behind the Tiger running shoe. He presented himself with confidence far greater than the size of his operation. In truth, there was no operation, no warehouse, no employees, no established business waiting back in America, only a vision. Remarkably, the meeting went better than anyone could have expected. Onitsuka agreed to let Knight distribute Tiger shoes in the United States. It wasn't a billion-dollar contract. It wasn't worldwide domination. It was simply an opportunity. But sometimes, one opportunity is all a dream needs. Months later, the first shipment of shoes finally arrived. Knight stored the boxes wherever he could. His parents' home became his first warehouse. His car became his first delivery truck. Every sale required persistence. Every customer had to be convinced. Every dollar earned was reinvested into the business. There were no celebrations, no headlines, no crowds cheering his success, only long days, sleepless nights, and an unshakable belief that he was building something bigger than anyone could yet see. Soon, Phil reached out to the one man he knew shared his obsession with better running shoes, his former coach, Bill Bowerman. When Bowerman examined the Tiger shoes, he immediately began thinking about how they could be improved. Lighter, faster, more comfortable. He wasn't satisfied with selling great shoes. He wanted to build even better ones. That partnership would become the foundation of something neither man could fully imagine. One brought relentless ambition. The other brought relentless innovation. Together, they were no longer just selling shoes. They were quietly laying the first stones of an empire that would one day reshape sports, culture, and business forever. The birth of Blue Ribbon Sports. The partnership was official, but success was still far away. Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman weren't running a global company. They were building a business from the ground up, one customer at a time. In 1964, they founded Blue Ribbon Sports. The name carried no worldwide recognition. There were no famous athletes wearing their shoes, no television commercials, no massive headquarters. Just two men determined to prove they belonged in an industry dominated by giants. Knight spent his days driving from track meet to track meet. His car became a mobile shoe store. He opened the trunk, displayed the Tiger shoes, and spoke directly to runners. He wasn't simply making sales. He was listening. Every conversation revealed what athletes wanted. Every complaint became valuable information. Meanwhile, Bowerman never stopped experimenting. He cut apart shoes, rebuilt them, tested new materials, measured every detail. His mission wasn't to follow the competition, it was to outperform them. Slowly, Blue Ribbon Sports began earning a reputation, not because it was the biggest, but because it genuinely cared about runners. Customers returned, word spread, sales increased, yet new success brought new problems. Orders grew larger, cash became tighter. The business was expanding faster than its finances. Many companies collapsed during this stage, not because demand disappears, but because growth creates pressure. Knight often found himself borrowing money just to keep inventory moving. Every shipment carried risk. Every delayed payment threatened the company's future. From the outside, it looked like a small shoe business. Behind the scenes, it was a daily fight for survival. Still, Knight refused to quit. He believed the greatest opportunities usually appear just after the hardest seasons. That belief kept Blue Ribbon Sports alive, but another challenge was approaching. The partnership with Onitsuka, the company that supplied their shoes, was beginning to crack. Trust was fading, competition was rising, and Phil Knight realized something that would change everything. If someone else controlled the product, someone else controlled his future. For the first time, he considered a bold idea. What if they stopped selling another company's shoes and created a brand of their own? It was a terrifying thought. It also became the beginning of one of the most recognizable brands the world would ever know. Every great brand begins with a name. After countless ideas, one finally stood out: Nike, inspired by the Greek goddess of victory. It was short, powerful, impossible to forget. The company now had a name, but it still needed an identity. A young design student named Carolyn Davidson was asked to create a logo. She was paid only $35 for her work. Her design was simple, a single curved mark, a symbol of speed, movement, and victory. The swoosh was born. At first, not everyone loved it. Even Phil Knight admitted he wasn't completely convinced, but there was no time to search for something better. The shoes had to be released. The business had to survive. Sometimes, history isn't created by perfect decisions. It's created by decisions made at exactly the right moment, with a new name, a new logo, and a determination to succeed. Nike entered the market. No one could have predicted what would happen next. The small company that once sold shoes from the trunk of a car was preparing to challenge the biggest names in sports. The empire finally had a face, but its greatest victories were still waiting to be written. Nike had a name. It had a logo. Now it needed believers. Launching a new brand into a market dominated by industry giants was one of the greatest challenges Phil Knight had ever faced. Companies like Adidas and Puma already commanded global respect. They had history. They had money. They had champions wearing their products. Nike had none of those advantages, but it possessed something even more powerful, a willingness to think differently. Bill Bowerman continued searching for ways to improve athletic performance. One morning, while eating breakfast with his family, he stared at the waffle iron on the kitchen table. The square pattern sparked an idea. What if a running shoe sole could grip the ground like that? Most people would have finished breakfast and forgotten the thought. Bowerman rushed to his workshop. He poured rubber into the waffle iron and began experimenting. The result was unlike anything runners had seen before. The new sole offered better traction while remaining lightweight. It became one of Nike's first breakthrough innovations. The company wasn't simply selling shoes anymore. It was solving problems athletes had accepted for years. Innovation became Nike's greatest weapon. Then came another turning point. Instead of relying only on advertisements, Nike partnered with athletes, not just to wear the shoes, but to trust them in competition. Every victory became proof. Every record became a statement. Every finish line became free advertising. As more athletes chose Nike, the brand's reputation grew. Sales climbed. New employees joined the company. Small offices became larger headquarters. What once seemed like an impossible dream was beginning to take shape. Still, success never arrived without sacrifice. Knight constantly worried about cash flow. Rapid growth demanded more factories, more inventory, and more investment. There were moments when the company appeared successful to the outside world while struggling to survive behind closed doors. Yet every obstacle reinforced a lesson Knight had learned years earlier on the running track. Keep moving, one step, one decision, 1 mile at a time. That mindset transformed Nike from a risky startup into one of the fastest growing companies in sports. The world was beginning to notice. But Phil Knight wasn't interested in being just another successful businessman. He wanted Nike to become something bigger than a shoe company. He wanted it to become a symbol of ambition, of perseverance, of refusing to accept limits. The foundation had finally been built. What came next would elevate Nike from a fast-growing brand to a global icon recognized in nearly every corner of the world. By the early 1980s, Nike was no longer fighting for a place in the market. It had become the company everyone else was trying to catch. What began as a dream in the mind of a young runner from Oregon had transformed into one of the most powerful brands on earth. From local tracks, to Olympic stadiums, to city streets across the globe. The swoosh had become more than a logo. It had become a symbol of ambition itself. But Phil Knight understood something few entrepreneurs ever truly learn. The moment you believe you've won, you've already begun to lose. Success creates comfort. Comfort destroys innovation. And innovation was the very thing that had built Nike. So while competitors tried to imitate the company's success, Nike continued doing what it had always done. It kept moving. Engineers searched for new technologies. Designers pushed creative boundaries. Athletes demanded better performance. Every product asked the same question: how far can we go? Then came one of the greatest marketing decisions in business history. Instead of selling shoes, Nike decided to sell something far more powerful: belief. Its advertisements weren't about leather, they weren't about rubber, they weren't even about sports. They were about courage, about sacrifice, about overcoming doubt, about finding the strength to continue when every part of you wants to quit. That message resonated with millions of people around the world because not everyone dreams of becoming a champion athlete, but everyone understands struggle, everyone understands fear, and everyone hopes that somewhere inside them exists the strength to overcome both. Then came 3 words that would echo through generations. Just do it. 3 simple words, yet they became one of the most powerful messages ever created. They challenged people to stop waiting, to stop making excuses, to stop allowing fear to decide their future. Those words transformed Nike. No longer was it simply a sports company. It became a cultural movement, a philosophy, a reminder that greatness belongs to those willing to take action. Decades after Phil Knight sold shoes from the trunk of his car, Nike products could be found in nearly every country on Earth. Children wore them, champions trusted them, dreamers believed in them. The company became worth billions. But perhaps the most extraordinary part of the story was never the money. It was the journey. Because before the world knew the swoosh, before the championships, before the billions, there was only one young man carrying an idea that nobody else could see. He didn't have certainty. He didn't have unlimited resources. He didn't have guarantees. He had belief. And sometimes, belief is enough. Phil Knight's story reminds us that empires are not built in a single day. They are built through thousands of difficult decisions, thousands of failures, thousands of moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. Yet the people who change history continue anyway, because every empire, every invention, every movement that changes the world begins with someone who refuses to let fear become their future. So the next time you see the Nike swoosh, remember what it truly represents. Not money, not fame, not even success. It represents courage. The courage to take the first step when the destination remains invisible. And perhaps, as you listen to this story, you're standing at the beginning of your own journey, your own dream, your own empire. If this story inspired you, like and subscribe to Behind the Empire, because behind every legendary company lies a hidden story of struggle, sacrifice, and impossible ambition. And in our next episode, we'll uncover another empire that changed the world forever, a story of betrayal, obsession, and a rivalry so intense that it reshaped an entire industry. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.